the Finance Administration Land Acquisition Committee meeting for Tuesday, December 15, 2015, to order at 6:01. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 17th?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from November 17th and Wednesday, 25.
Okay, we got a motion, can I get a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's review the report presented by the city council.
Okay, the first report is the check register for tonight's meeting. Within that list, there's nothing exceptional to comment on. It's just transactions that are part of the normal course of business, regular vendor payments. There are 2 payments coming out of the capital project fund, one of them being to Robert Hamilton Consulting Engineers, and that's one of the IDOT projects that we would be getting reimbursed from the state once that check is cleared. And the other one is another partial on for Tahey and Associates, and that is part of the Millery study that we're doing. That's another payment on that. We haven't capped off that not to exceed yet, so we're still within constraints of that. Does anybody have any questions on any of the checks listed in the check register?
Yeah, I do, but Mr. Graff's not here yet, so
Okay.
I need him.
Moving on then to the next report would be the collector's report. This is just the summary of deposits. There again, there's nothing remarkable. There's no impact fees or developer fees on here. I would like to comment on where we're at with the vehicle tags. In the month of November, we collected $1,731, which brought our year-to-date figure of $58,000. We budgeted $65,000, so we're under budget. Part of that, I believe we're fairly consistent with the number of stickers sold. However, the seniors seem to be increasing, so the revenue changes when the costs go down on that sticker. And then, like I said, just comparing receipts from this year in November to last year in November, our revenues are slightly higher by about $6,000 over last November. So just, I'd like to look at some comparisons and see if there's anything that's happening there that I can comment on. Going on to the next report, which is the summary of revenues versus expenses. The cover page of that is just a summary of all the funds. Year to date, which would be at this time as October 31st, we were showing a net income of $161,209.51. At the end of November, we're showing potential deficit or loss of $318,000. Now, why was there such a big change? Part of that is due to the sewer plant, we paid the loan payment. So that's a 6-month payment that's coming out in 1 month. So that distorts that number slightly. The other thing is the majority of our revenue for real estate taxes, and I'm saying majority, probably 97%, has already been received. So that's typical. It's all received before the end of November. So we start to use that money that's come in. So that also tends to distort that picture. Additionally, we were behind 4 months of payments from the state. So, and that, adding up those 4 months payments that we were, that are due us is about $75,000. Now, on the good side, just this week, Monday, we started receiving those state payments. I received all of the gaming tax revenue through November. I received 3 of the local use tax payments and 3 of the MFT payments. So, and that's all happened since yesterday and today. So the state has caught up, in essence, on all of their payments to us. Pardon? Yeah. Yeah, so, like I said, so that will help, December should kind of get back on track and look a little better.
So when will this even back out? What are we looking for? You can see the 663 out of there, obviously, and that will get that fund will continue to build and back up over the
That
next
capital
several months?
project fund, that's showing a year-to-date loss. Part of that was we were using fund balance. So that particular fund is not going to build back up this fiscal year. It's use of the fund balance, and we know what that was for. The police department, was close to 600,000 of that we had in the fund that we used this year. So some of that, remaining balance there will be reimbursed. The state IDOT projects, I believe I've got $40,000 right now in receivables. And those typically should be in within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Those tend to run anywhere from 1 month to 3 months to get those repayments back. But that fund, when you look at this report, that's not going to build back up very much. The other funds, the sewer operating fund, that will build back up. And like I said, you know, that was a huge swing from 150 to the 233, but that loan payment was $450,000, so that definitely will swing it in a month's time, but that's a 6-month payment. So that will build back up. And then now with the other revenue coming in, it'll start to level off a little bit, but there again, when we hit February, March, there's very little payments that come in other than just the state taxes. So it levels off, and then we'll kind of meet where we thought we would in our budget if expenses equate to what we projected, which they may or may not. I mean, we're not overspending in any one fund at this time. So we're on track with the budget. Anybody have any questions?
Well, since Tony ain't here, did you ask him the question that I had on that?
No.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know what that $2,200 spent for, the school district and the city for Henshaw and, Culverston LLP. I asked the office and they said Tony signed it and said pay it, so.
Yeah, it's October services, is the description. So in the month of October was when the fundraiser with the Black Hawk Society was going on. So Henshaw's a legal consultant.
Probably what it's for, can't be certain.
Right, I mean, that was the billing.
That was the time of the bill.
Yeah, it was for October services. So during that time is when that event was held.
Would that payment have anything to do with the whatever you call it, the consulting firm that wanted to do some studies or give us a drawing on the auditorium and stuff like that?
The consultant firm would have been an engineering architectural firm. This is legal. So I know the city and the school district were partnering with some of those legal fees to bring the cup here.
That was the question I asked when
Yeah, and I mean, I can't answer the specifics of it.
What's that? Yeah, I'm just wondering if that was the part of the payment that we turned down at the committee meeting. The mayor and the administrator had said that they told the school district that we would pay half of some fee, and our committee decided that we were not going to pay that.
That was architectural fees.
That was the architectural fees?
That was architectural fees. This is legal fees.
Yeah, that was part of the questions I had, and Kim could not give me the answers.
No,
So I needed Tony, and
I think we had about 10 minutes.
I could not hook up with him at that time, so. But that's all I got, so you can move on to.
Anybody else have any questions on the budget and stated budget. Thanks, Kim. Review the draft of the community virtual solar garden program development agreement. What are we doing with this? Is something Tony would be explaining to us?
Yeah, Tony was working directly with this one, with the virtual solar garden. That was the presentation we had in regards to solar power for the water and sewer plant. And then he can explain to you a little bit better on how it might work. So,
And I've looked at it as well, so we don't have anything to explain, I can give some
on the legal end of it. So.
Review and approve Union Pacific request purchase of property and city resolution directing the sale of certain surplus public real estate.
This is a tiny sliver of property. I believe John has worked on that as well too, right?
Correct.
This is a tiny sliver of property up by Joliet Street, where Joliet Street kind of dead ends. There's a small portion of property that the Union Pacific's interested in purchasing.
Right, it's landlocked, it's a small parcel of property, and I believe Colby Semitis and Darren Fowler looked at this and determined that it's no longer necessary for the city to possess. Under the statute, if it's declared surplus, there's a procedure that has to be followed in order to sell it. And even though the railroad has expressed a desire to purchase it, we would still have to follow the statute, and they would, it's not required that it be sold to the highest bidder. It can be sold to anyone up to, exceeding 80% of what the appraised value is. So, but it's just a formality to declare it surplus before we can move forward with working with the railroad.
That's that piece of property down there by K-Chuck's east of his.
Well, it's not really by K-Chuck's, it's over, there's that house over on the other side of this.
Right.
A small sliver of property, it's over by the sewer plant. Like I said, it's landlocked, and all this does is, we're just declaring a surplus property. There's nothing in here that says we're selling it to Union Pacific. This is just the first step in the declaration of surplus property is all it is. And that allows staff, John and Nick, guys, to put forth the necessary documents to go with proceeding to the sale of that. Like John says, if we put it for sale, it goes out to bid, anybody can bid on it. You just go from there.
Right, it will be published in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Who's maintaining it now, Marty, do you know?
I don't think anybody, I don't think it's really much of anything. It's a really small piece. It's probably just a little weed area that, it's probably just alongside the rails, just outside the railroad's boundary line, so to speak. So I would probably beg to say it's probably more just nothing but weeds there. Really, you wouldn't even know where a property line is or isn't. So,
It's 0.271 acres.
yeah.
And the appraisal value, we got that how, of 27.2?
It's in the railroad obtained it.
Okay.
We have a copy of the appraisal.
Okay.
So this just puts it out there. I mean, we can't just go out and say, well, sell it, we're just gonna sell it. We have to do the whole public thing, like you said, the publishing and everything else. This is the beginning of that process.
Would that be 100% of that property? Or are you just selling a section of our property?
It's just basically just a little sliver of property that's deemed the city's property.
The property that's
But it's the
landlocked,
whole one.
It's
would it be 100% of the
Yeah, it's-
landlocked
Right,
property?
it's 100% of that lot.
We're not just gonna break it up into a piece
No.
for just someone to purchase.
No.
We're
So
gonna sell the entire
whole
thing.
lot's only a
That
.271.
acres.
Yeah, there's two large parcels, and
0.271,
they've taken.
Yeah, you gotta remember, there's a .7.
I'm sorry, what, John?
There's two large parcels. They've taken a portion of both parcels, a small portion along the railroad tracks. That's what they want. And once this gets approved, it ultimately has to come back to this board, to this council for approval.
When you
to the
say,
council, not to the finance.
when you say 2 large parcels, are they 2 large city-owned parcels?
Yes,
And they want to shave a piece off of them?
correct.
And so who takes care of the replotting or that?
The railroad would have to do that.
They'd have
We
to-
could, well, we'll put it, basically the purchaser, which would more likely will be the railroad because they're the only one that's really expressed interest in it.
Mhm.
And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but once that sale comes in, you know, we put stipulations that, you know, for the replotting and everything else is the responsibility of the purchaser in completing the sale of that parcel of property.
Yeah, the re-recording of the deeds and all that.
Correct.
We don't want to quite more expense in this than it costs us to.
Well, exactly, and I mean, you know, and you're looking at 80% of the value, whatever it is, you're trying to get, you know, get 100%, great.
The statute allows the city to place conditions on the sale of the property, no matter whom it's sold, so.
So even if Joe Schmo comes and wants to buy it too, he'd still follow the same requirements that we do, you know, necessary for the sale of that property. Like you said, the replating and the recording of deeds and all that stuff.
Has anybody got any questions about that? Let's move on, let's review and, looking for a review and approval of quotes for the video security system at the water treatment plant. This is follow-up of the discussion we had at water treatment earlier.
Correct, I believe they did get some additional requirements, additional bids.
Yeah, we were told by Tony that they were going to work on the quote and they were gonna move some cameras and deem some not necessary and try to work on these numbers and make them affordable. And I take it this is this is the results of that findings? That's correct. And you're looking for a motion to send which one of these quotes forward?
I believe the DTW was the lowest price.
DTW's at $13,999, and CES, the cheaper of the two of those, is at $17,250.
Okay, we had quite a bit of discussion on it, obviously, the obvious need for getting something done out there. So let's get back to the important question of where is it coming from? Have we deemed how we're gonna pay for this shit?
There was some money budgeted for that in the capital project fund. Half of that, there was 13,000 earmarked in the budget for that project. 7,000 of that has been spent already on security lighting at the plant. Now, is there other projects within that capital project budget that may not be done, or that, I mean, I guess what we're looking for is about $7,000 more,
About $8,000.
$8,000 more to accommodate this. I guess that's gonna depend on what projects are still gonna get done this year.
So there are other projects that won't get done, and naturally,
Right.
there won't be projects that will.
I know that we scrapped the emergency transfer switch, that wasn't in the budget anyway.
Right.
The other one I was thinking of was the heater, maybe we scrapped that as well. I don't know if that was budgeted, was it, Kim? I don't know.
There was,
We was gonna put a heater in the water plant, Jack, and put that on the WASA. We decided to scrap it because we kept going through heaters, thought we could come up with a heat trace on the clerk.
Yeah, remember we had a discussion that heat tracing would obviously be
Yeah,
a
waste
much
of
more
time.
efficient answer to the problem.
Right. And I don't know if that was budgeted, so that was a savings there of about what we need, but I don't know if that was budgeted.
Kim, what, do you know what we had total in our capital project plan for the water plant, do you know by chance?
the capital project budget was roughly $237,000. Now, some of those projects have been partially done, some of them have been completely done. I would think, do you know anything about rebuilding the lime hopper?
The line hopper, I'm under the understanding that we have the parts, and that Gary and his crew is going to fix it. So
Because there's money in there for that, that would cover this.
Let's do this, just to be on, I mean, so everybody can kind of get a better feel, good feeling. Let us go ahead and take the time to assess where we're at with our capital projects in relation to the water treatment plant, so you guys can have a better feel on how we are in expenditures. I don't think waiting a few weeks for the camera install is gonna change anything. So let us, as you guys know, we're going through some,
Yeah.
we're going through some process stuff with the water plant, so let's do that.
I would feel much more comfortable if I knew where it was coming from and had a better handle.
I would probably say that based on the budget, we've probably got enough there in the capital projects to do this. But like I said, let us do an assessment so we can show you guys.
I would appreciate that. It was kind of a whirlwind at the last water sewer treats and alley meeting. We were throwing things away and reprioritizing at quite a pace, so it'd be nice to get a handle on this before we go forward.
We'll do that.
So this motion will be,
Yeah, we'll go ahead and suspend that motion until the next council meeting. At the same time, and then I'll get with Colby as well, and Darren, and Tony will break it down a little bit, as well as Tim, so.
So just to be clear, you guys need to know, are we going with DTW, so the 13 is what I need to find? Is that what?
Yeah, I think DTW is our lowest bidder. our
they're at
responsible
14,
bidder.
they're only $1 off 14, so go with 14.
So basically, as we look at the aspect of it, and we've done business with them in the past, they'll continue to, so I would look at that bid as far as the lowest responsible quote that we got.
Right.
And then we'll do some assessments on where we're at with the capital projects that we had slotted into this year's budget, whether they're gonna be projected to do, not to do, and that way we can let these guys know. If we got that lime hopper that needs to be done, we got the parts, we need to get it done, so.
Right. And
See what our cost.
Gary's on vacation, so when he gets back, we'll start talking about priorities and projects and get a better grip on everything. Right now, like you said, it's kind of, we're learning as we go.
We talked about that pipe installation too, to keep that pond drain down also.
Yeah.
Is that going forward now?
Yeah, it's complete.
That's complete.
That is complete.
That was the slurry project?
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and, we'll just
Okay.
Hey Darren, can you get some information on DTW, like what kind of outfit they are, where they're from?
They actually do a lot of work for us. I think they're our IT people.
Yeah, they're our
Right.
IT group.
So,
Where's their office or shop out of, you know? How close?
He like, doesn't he live in Elwood?
Yeah,
Jerry?
Gary Fuqua
Yeah.
is basically DTW. I don't know if you've seen him around. Anytime we have any IT question, any IT issues, especially within City Hall, where there be, computers or whatever, he's our contractor. IT guy, he's the company that ran all the Cat 5, did all the Cat 5 for the police station and stuff like that. So very familiar with our stuff. Even when Darren has stuff, they have IT issues or computer issues at the sewer plant or the water treatment plant, he handles that. He's probably out of Elwood, because that's where his base is, so I'm sure the business location's at Elwood.
This includes low voltage installation,
Yeah.
and he's where he has to follow prevailing wage on that, right?
Yes.
But a lot of our staff is gonna be doing this work.
Yeah, there'll be assistance from our public works crew to help to keep the price down and everything else. And that's just slinging the Cat 5 through the school and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
Maybe we won't have to worry about any splicing this time, like we did at the police station.
Hey, I can say no.
Yeah. Okay, we'll consider that on hold until we get more information.
Yeah.
Let's, are we ready to back up? Are you ready, Tony?
Get
All right, we're gonna back up to, review the draft on a community virtual solar garden program.
Yes, we got to the development agreement that the presenter, Mike, said that would be the next step, is he would present that draft, which outlines that everything that starts the process, there's no risk based on the city for them to go through the concept planning and modeling for the solar panels, the array to get set up, and then working with the state in regards to the power purchase agreement which all the power purchase agreements have to be ready and prepared by March. So they need about 60 days to do due diligence to get all that information together. So the next step is a development agreement with the city. And as far as the development agreement we have, there's no risk for the city at all. And at the end of the day, if the PPA, the power purchase agreement, doesn't meet the economics, I guess the viability of somebody making money, which is, you know, the company, and also for us to get a good price in regards to us having a lower cost on our electricity and possibly produce enough electricity. We're looking at now for a sewer plant, they might be able to produce up to almost 80% of our electrical cost would go through the solar panels. So at the end of the game, you know, I know they had a savings of $360,000 when they forecasted out over 20 years. I still think that's possible for us to have that savings, you know, over a 20-year period of time. But it looks a lot more highly probable and more predictable at the sewer plant, not the water plant.
We own
The
the
sewer plant's a
property.
high user.
And we own the property at the sewer plant.
And we
not
own
at
the property
water plant.
versus, yes, versus the option where even if we have to, either we had to buy at least 20 acres, you know, that could be, you know, $1,000 a year, $2,000 a
I
year.
think the biggest asset for the water plant was, in the event that we lose power, which we commonly do in heavy storms. You lose ComEd, we're back on solar, we don't have that issue of not having power at the water plant.
Well, some, there was, you know,
I think the
there
biggest.
was a tremendous amount of information thrown at us at
Yes,
a
it was a
short
lot.
period of time.
Wow.
And one of the questions that I wanted to ask them was about storm damage and who's insured, and then what happens during that period that we're at a loss. I mean, what if a tornado runs through the middle of those solar panels? What, you know, who owns them then, and who fixes them, and what do we do for power in the meantime? I mean, those are some
Well,
of the
we're
questions I
not
wanted to ask.
relying on this as our power source. This is just a deduct, basically. It's, so if the solar panels do get destroyed, I mean, we don't own them, they own them. All we're doing is we're providing the land so, and our meter, so that they could go to the marketplace. This is all that commodities, you know, options things. They go to the marketplace to sell the electricity at X amount of dollars. And then they're giving us, the city, for that option to happen, they're giving the city a certain amount of kilowatts that are gonna be produced off of these, maybe there's 60 panels out there. So we don't own any of the panels, we're just gonna own a percentage of the electricity that's gonna get produced. And then when, let's just use the example, say 100 kilowatts get produced. We're gonna have possibly 20 of those kilowatts. So if our bill is 40 kilowatts, we're gonna get a deduct of 20 kilowatts on our bill. So we're not gonna see any cash come in, we're just gonna see a deduct on our bill. So I think right now, if you look at sanitary sewer, if I remember right, was about $70,000 electricity a year?
Oh, it's up to 105.
105. Sorry, I get it mixed up with water plant. So if we just got a 20% deduct, you know, we're gonna have $20,000 less in our electricity bill. And so, yeah, to answer your question, we're not, they're indemnifying us, all the environmental, we have no environmental, we're holding harmless, we're indemnified. They have to provide all the insurance. So before you even build, it's gonna come back to you, for one thing, I forgot to mention too. We still gonna have another vote that once all this is done, you know, another bite of the apple is, they're gonna produce everything for us, purchase power agreement, and then the council will still have that thing to say, hey, it's not gonna work. There's not enough savings there that we're gonna use our land for this purposes.
Well, the other question then I had is, how does that work? Do we maintain the land, or they do a lease agreement do they lease the land
Yes.
from us to put that on?
Correct. And our payment is the electricity, the deduct on the electricity. Yeah, we're landlords still, we're not selling our land. It's just like a cell tower issue, when you say, you know, they're leasing that property to put their solar arrays out there. And we're indemnifying the city and holding all of us harmless. And the opportunity for, the one that I learned last week was any green initiative that's coming out of the EPA regulations right now especially for sanitary sewer plants, are gonna be a big plus. And, they're coming up with another one of these 50-50 loan programs with sanitary and water that the EPA is gonna have. And one of the criteria that they're promoting right now is that they're gonna ask the cities for green initiatives. So the cities that have those green initiatives are gonna score higher on these grants and these loans. No guarantees, it's another one of those, bait and switch things I always call it with the EPA regulatories. But they are putting out there that communities that are gonna be doing energy, alternative energy, and everything for communities that are doing stormwater resiliency programs, which you're gonna be seeing that from Colby in about 3 months of what is really a stormwater resiliency program. And basically, it's to try to put a plan together that we're gonna reduce our stormwater damage with a long-term program. Here nor there, that's another subject. But your risk today is basically, you're signing a document for them to go out and show us, can this be done?
One final question on the property. What happens if 15 years from now, we need that property to expand the plant?
Good question. I know there's an exit clause, but I have to look at it. If we need to, wait, first off, where we're putting it in an area where we're not gonna be expanding. It's the retention area. Retention area. So they're gonna put them up on a higher pedestals.
So the retention still
Yeah,
is.
it's gonna be usable.
Right.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the, I forgot about that, 'cause that's what we
Yeah.
talked about. We're putting it in areas that we wouldn't be building anyway, we'd never be building. And then I think the big key, like Tony harped on the agreement, is there's absolutely no risk for us to do this. They still gotta go out and demonstrate the property purchase in the sense of say that we can get a lower rate. Just by signing this agreement puts us really at no risk at all, other than to say, yeah, go ahead and see if you can get a deal and make it work. So I think that's one of the biggest keys with the agreement.
And every agreement that's gonna come in, John and then also our environmental attorney will look at it too, in regards, because we are talking, deal with the EPA, there's all types of rules.
It's just, it's a lot to swallow. I mean,
Oh, it is.
I tried my darndest to pay as close attention, because he was covering a lot of ground pretty quick. And I was
He
just
did.
trying to sort it out. Those were some of my biggest concerns that I just aired. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, if we go ahead and sign into this and everything, so let's say for 36 months, we're reading everything, we're locked in, so the only way we can get out when it's up, when the 36 months is up, if we wanted to actually get out of it.
It's a performance clause too. So I think I need to look and see which performances would be the one that we would trigger. I know one of the performances is the PPA. If the purchase power agreement does not get approved, then there's no more, it's not existing because they're not gonna be able to build without a purchase power agreement. So, it's a good question that, I know John had this, but I don't know specifically the exit clause.
Well, it basically provides that once they do look at this to see if it's gonna benefit them, benefit the city and the company, Community Virtual Solar Garden Program, well, Community Green Energy, would sit down and negotiate all the terms of the agreement, what it would entail, costs of the electricity, the size, and other matters. You also have to talk about the length of the term too. So these are all items that would be negotiable at the time of discussing the power purchase agreement. So if it's not beneficial to both parties, then that would be the end of it. But my understanding is they don't want to wait 36 months to enter into an agreement. They want to see if it's viable and do it now, so.
Yeah, and when you look at host responsibility, which is us, and then their responsibility, we're basically, at this point, giving them the opportunity for them to go perform their work using our site and their modeling. So that when it comes back to the PPA, they can basically say they got all the work, all the engineering done for the electrical grid of the solar arrays. So we have 6 performance things that we're responsible for. They have 6. And at the end of the day, John's absolutely right. If it takes 36 months to do all that, It might, I don't think it will, because they're saying by March, we'll have a go, no-go by March. Because the other reason is, the state of Illinois is not looking in 2017 to put the renewable energy tax credits back to extend them. So this is the last year for the renewable energy tax credits on the state level to capture that. So if the state doesn't renew it, there's no way, if we don't make it this year, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it in 2017 because you're not gonna get the renewable energy tax credits. That's sort of the apple out there, they're trying to get that, you know.
I think that was the reason for the 36 months, they were just looking for that 3-year window to attempt to get it, in case they couldn't get it the first
Right.
year, they had a couple.
And the
other
state
years to
continued it.
To where,
Yeah.
if, put it this way, Steve, if they tried this year and, just like when you tried for anything and you didn't quite make it, usually a lot of times those people will say, hey, you didn't meet the requirements, here's what you didn't meet. It gives that company the opportunity over the next 12 months to go and try to meet those requirements, so they can reapply again, the following year. And that's why you see the 36-month agreement, but like Tony was saying, it doesn't look like this 2016 is gonna be their only shot. After that, they don't, I mean, it could change.
Right.
Illinois could change their mind and renew those renewable credits. So that's why it's out there, but as of right now, they've only extended it to 2016, they haven't extended it any years beyond that. I would probably say that they would probably extend them, but they're going for it right now in 2016, I think that they got the best shot. But at the same time, even on the 36-year agreement, there's no risk or no liability on the city whatsoever on the 36-year agreement. The ability to perform, to make this happen is all on the company, not on us.
How many other municipalities are they using in Illinois?
None, we're the first.
So we're like, okay.
Yeah. And this all came about, like I say, when I got introduced to it, just looking for Darren and Kim, asking all the time about where can we reduce our energy costs. So, they're out in other states, and I was surprised that they actually took our offer up. Expressed an interest in Illinois. But this is the one that would model that other communities could work. But we're the only ones that really could probably get it off the ground for them to be able to make that March deadline. The other couple of communities they did talk to, they, I used the word, but they got a big bureaucracy. Meetings and everything they gotta do, and they have to do more due diligence.
Well, I think it's something we've got to really stay on, because, especially as smart technology comes in, those rates are going to continually escalate.
Yes.
And probably a lot more rapidly than we'd like to see. So if we're taking these initiatives to look to find ways to reduce our electrical need, especially in the electricity market, I think we could end up being miles ahead of the game. Even if it's only a few $1,000s, it's still more than doing nothing, so.
Can I ask a question? And I've asked Tony this before. Is there a way, since we're only getting 20% of our bill, is there a way that we go ahead and buy a couple panels off these people to maybe get more savings? Because solar should be cheaper than regular electricity bills, right? So, I mean, there's got to be because they want business.
I think the
to join
potential
in.
could be there, because they're going to look to sell.
Right.
Outlying parcels.
Yeah, and the 20% is just a rough estimate, once you start modeling.
Right.
Yeah, we wanna buy a panel or two.
I think that would come about in the future phases, to where, as we get, if the council agrees to move forward with the agreement, we get forward to that, maybe we look at, just different ways to recoup that money. Maybe instead of getting 20%, we get, a few panels or whatever, we own those panels or whatever. There's a lot of things we can do there. And I think the first thing is to find out if council's comfortable with going with this.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Did they mention anything about construction ethics, being that you're gonna build it on public property? Are they gonna pay prevailing wage, or, anything that I've discussed with them?
Yes, first off, as a public project in Illinois, they must be paid prevailing wage, so they're aware of that.
The purchases come from the state, so they have to abide by those.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody got any other questions on this topic?
While we're on the subject, real quick, did they ever bring up, I had seen something in a magazine or whatever, these panels going on top, 10 foot high in parking lots, so we're not, taking up any footprint. You still have your city parking lot, but the panels are up 10 foot like a carport, and it might be of use to the city, city hall or whatnot. Did they ever bring any of that kind of information to you, or just using our?
They did. The problem with parking lots, because of the way panels have to be lined up, you're really not getting the full effect, because you have to separate them out so you get the parking. Now, if we had linear parking, parkways within the parking lots, yes, they said. So if we had we don't have any linear parking right now, but if you had like a commuter lot, where they have the parkways in the middle, where they stop, you could put those solar panels right in there and put them up, and that would work. But in the parking stalls itself, the liability is just too great of the cars damaging the panels and doing things, so. But they are looking at putting them on roofs, they are looking at putting them in parking garages, areas. They do have, discussion, looking at some roofs out in Bridgeport, and we're gonna be looking, talking to a couple companies out there, and they wanna talk to this company and put them up on the roofs, and exclusively have electricity go right to them only. I mean, the company's gonna pay for all the solar panels and put them up.
I think solar's ever evolving, so, I mean, to try to get into the game, you never know what's gonna happen down the road, to make.
Yeah, they're even talking about, this company isn't, but if you go to the south, they're starting to put these things on the expressways in the green areas, where they'll put, instead of billboards, you would see an array of solar panels up above. And tollways and the states are getting advantage of that, but we're not in that. But I think we're expanding. I think once we get rolling, we find out how it works. Our problem in Illinois is it has to be a net meter. So you have to be close enough to a meter for the electricity to feed into to get the deduct. And that's where
There's nothing here looking for a motion for anything for council here.
Yeah, there is in the thing to look.
Yeah, in the.
To approve the development grant under finance and administration. It's on the,
yeah, we'd like to get a motion
it's on the agenda tonight.
to approve
Yeah,
it.
but I'm saying that on there's nothing on the agenda for finance to pass a motion to send it forward.
Oh, you mean review and approve?
Yeah.
I mean, you can send it forward, I mean.
So we are looking to approve.
Oh, I had the review, we didn't put the word review and approve like the others. Yeah, sorry. My fault.
Yeah, not a problem, I just want to make sure that we're okay to do this because it's not.
Yes, you are. It's on the agenda.
So you're looking for a motion to approve, to approve community virtual solar garden development to go forward. What is the company name? Is there a Wilmington in the company name here?
What's the motion written in the,
It says, I move to approve the community virtual solar garden program development agreement.
we'll look at that, make sure that's worded right.
Okay, so right now we're looking for a motion
That's the agreement that we want to approve.
to send the approval of the agreement to full council, or to send the agreement to full council for approval.
We'll make it.
Okay, we have a motion, can I get a second?
I'll second
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right,
Thank you.
Tony, let's move down to the.
No, wait a second, let's get that one that I asked on finance.
Okay, we had a question that you weren't here to answer when we were reviewing the accounts, the reports from the city accountant. And it was a line item that we have questions about.
Yeah, there was a check in there for Henshaw and Culbertson,
Yes.
LFP. I asked Kim about it and she couldn't tell me what it was for.
That was for services, we're still working with the schools, with the community development project, the school community project. It's legal services, still trying to work through, well, we're at a point to try to get the mission, vision statements together to ultimately start working toward that intergovernmental agreement, which will come in front of you, hopefully in January, in regards to that project. So we're still doing some background legal work. It should be the end of it. I do know we have one more meeting tomorrow to go over the mission and vision statement and something else that we're meeting with the, I think that's it, just a vision mission statement. So-
Is this in with that 12,500 that they were asking?
Well, the 12,500, we still told the.
Yeah, but I mean, what they're doing is.
This is additional.
Additional.
Right.
But the 12,500 you haven't approved yet.
Right, that was
Right.
the Healy vendor.
Right.
Healy vendor, we told them not to come to a committee, to even ask for services to be rendered under the pro bono, next step, as he said, so.
Okay, so this was back in October for this one. And you got one more meeting with these guys on,
And I had some discussion after hearing your question with Henshaw this afternoon, and I hope to have an answer, you know, how, and I think it's gonna come from the meeting tomorrow, you know, because they do have some funds now from the Stanley Cup event. Are those funds gonna get allocated to start paying for some of these legal services?
okay, thank you, sir.
All right, let's move on to review and approve the facade improvement grant program application submitted by Sharon Faber for 215 North Water.
Yes,
Sharon's here behind.
Sharon's here.
Hello, Sharon.
What basically, when Sharon came in, she asked to fill out an application. And she's doing it at the risk of knowing it's already done, the project's done. She had a few reasons why it went on a sort of a fast track, because of the way the bids were coming in and the companies. But I told her you could always ask, you know, even though it's after the fact. And I also told her there's, all facade requests are always determined on the city council using contingency funds, because we don't have any earmarked funds. So she said, I'll go through it, she's here to look at it. I think you guys have the application. The work they had done, you're all familiar with Treasurer's Cove in downtown. She got a local contractor. I know she had some challenges getting other quotes. People were just not returning calls, it's a small project. And when this guy came to her and said, I can do this, and I have an opportunity to do it over the next 3-4 weeks. She got the quote, and she gave the go-ahead. I will say this, she enlightened me a little bit about how much we're not really promoting this program. And what I would recommend, no matter what we end up doing tonight, is anybody that comes in for a building permit in our downtown area for facade work, we should hand out the application, let the people know, well, there is a facade program, and you need to fill out this application if you want to apply. No funding, it's still contingent on funding. But I think if we'd have done that when she came in for the permit, she'd have filled it out. And so, you know, I think a little bit of say, hey, you know, we need to promote it more.
I think a while ago we did that, but because of all the changing of guards in here, it probably fell off to the side.
Well, we had very tight constraints
Yeah.
too, and I think what we determined at the time was it would be better to do it on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
See where we were, you know, within the confines of our budget, and then proceed with that. I don't think we really, we used to have actually, Larry, we used to have a line item where we kind of set aside so much
Yeah, we
a
used
year.
to put X amount of dollars
Right,
away.
and then
Yeah.
under one of the budget years, we cut that and said, let's just do it on a case-by-case basis, which tried to, you know, really kind of tighten our screws on how we dealt with that budget.
So I guess the first question is, do we have funds sitting on our backside?
We do have, well, God, can't even answer.
Well, there is in general corporate, there is money in contingency.
Okay.
And it's a small amount, but, you know, I think it's also our way of supporting the downtown. I think we can all say right now, we see a lot more ownership and investment going in that downtown area by the owners, some of the owners. And, so.
And Tony, I know this has been brought up a couple of times tonight. This money, if we were to hand over this money, does this money from the city, the citizens of Wilmington, does it have to go to a contractor that pays prevailing wage, or can we just give this money to anybody, to any contractor?
Well, you're giving the money to the property owner.
to hire
Yes,
any contractor that they want.
yes. And that's why the preview, pre-application preview is probably important. So we could even look at contractors, not that we're here to say yes, no, and different, just that, you know, she didn't find a local contractor that was here. I don't know if he paid the living wage. I don't know if he has union employees or not, or his wages. But in the application process, it doesn't have that in there. The prevailing wage is required for all the contractors.
Good question.
And Sharon's always shy, she's shy, so that's what I'm speaking for. Keep waiting for her to pop in, but she's nervous.
I can say one thing, it looks very nice.
Thank you.
I know they did a tremendous
Just
amount
got
of
a
work
couple
in
more
that.
things to tweak out and finish.
Yeah, but that's, it's a very time-consuming job with all that tuck pointing and stuff like that. It's always nice to see improvements done in the downtown area. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, if council wants to review the thing and ask some questions, I mean, they can, we can move forward, it's up to you guys.
It really is. I mean, the way the ordinance reads, you know, it goes to the building and grounds committee, but that's when we follow the normal process. So this is outside the normal process.
I mean, if you want, you know, to allow that opportunity for more discussion, we can do that at buildings and grounds and then go from there. It's up to you guys.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to go forward with this tonight, or to drop this back to building and grounds for further discussion and this discovery of funds?
Well, we already found out the funds are set, we have funds in there that would cover this, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to move it forward to council for a vote.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to send the request to council.
Hold on, 1 second. It can be approved right here in committee. It's under-
It can be if you want.
It's just not on, it's not on the council agenda,
Oh, that's true.
so.
That's right.
Okay.
If it's under 5,000, you guys, because that's your limit anyway in the facade program. You guys did give
Right,
community.
so you guys can make the approval right here.
I make a motion to approve this at finance tonight.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this request at committee level. Is there any further discussion?
I have a comment. Due to the fact that it's already been done, and also I feel that for the city of Wilmington to use funds to hire any contractor whatsoever, I don't feel it's fair to the citizens of Wilmington. I think all our funds should be paid through prevailing wage contractors, so since we don't know that fact, I will not be voting yes on this.
Any other discussion? Can you do a roll call vote on this?
Sure. Studer,
No.
Tudor,
Yes.
Persick,
Yes.
Kerwin,
Yes.
Larry Hall,
Yes.
Kirby Hall,
Yes.
Van Dyne,
No.
Evans,
Yes.
motion passed.
Motion passed.
And
Congratulations.
I can tell you, congratulations, and funds won't get released until we do one of our own, we'll have Pam go out just to make sure everything was done. I mean, I know the building permit people have already done that, but for releasing the funds, I know we have a couple things that they had to get done, and then we'll wrap the check.
Let's move on because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Let's review and approve bid results for the demolition of asbestos abatement at the former Widow's Laundry Home and award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder as recommended by True North Consultants.
Yeah, you have that in your packet, bids were open. The only thing that we need to discuss is the budget. I believe we had about, how much we have left, 2,000 in the budget for demo?
I think so.
You're at
And
24 grand.
we're at 20-something thousand on this one. So, there's a couple things, we do have funds that we didn't allocate in the capital projects under miscellaneous. I think we have 60,000 sitting there for that project. This is, This was identified in the IEPA water inspection report a year and a half ago about that structure being within the sphere of influence of the water plant. It's kind of a stretch, but they did identify it. The other thing that they did identify, it is an attractive nuisance. And anything that's attractive nuisance with homeland security or with animals is not good for a water plant. So that was another comment made about the Widow's home. And that's why we went forward with doing the assessments. So our next inspection report isn't until September of next year. But our goal was to try to get the Widow's home demolished, so that when we have the next report, we don't have those marks against us. So
If you had a low bid from Bechstein,
I think it's fixed down.
Bechstein Construction.
that's 24,000, you said?
Very close to it.
So where are we at then? Are the funds there for this?
Basically, we don't have the budgeted amount for this. We had 7,000 or 8,000 because we had to spend the money on the asbestos survey, and then we had other demolition dollars that got spent. Part of it is, what was the other demolition dollars we spent? Oh, the asbestos over on the island, for one. So we do have the, don't want to use money that we don't have, but we do have an earmark. On the cell tower, we did have 10% of that sale that was going to go for cost for the islands. So we could replenish what we used on the island for the asbestos survey, which I think was only 2,400, if I remember right. We're still far away from the 24,000, or 22,000 that we need. So we need a vote to allocate and use funds from the capital project under miscellaneous credit. Or if you move forward to approve this bid.
Looking for a motion to move forward on this. With a, what kind of transfer of funds would you call that?
How would you want that, Kim?
Usually we would use it out of the capital projects, because their capital projects is actually land building and equipment. So it could be just expended out of that fund.
So we wouldn't need a motion to do that,
We
because
wouldn't
that's
have to, transfer it, we would just expend it out of
spending
that
out
fund.
of the capital fund.
And what
Fund
is
number
our-
24.
And what's our, what if we do nothing? What if we wait on this? What's the downside? What, is there any EPA? Could we be fined from the EPA, or what's the deal?
No, we're not under any type of scrutiny for the EPA fine. It's what they call it, it's called a note in their report. Now, maybe next time when it comes in, they might take more of a closer look at it. That's usually how they go with these. So, but no, we're not under any mandate, we're not under any recommendation, and we need to take care of this by the next permit. I don't want anybody to think we have to do that because of the EPA.
We've got some bigger fish to fry right now, if you ask me.
I think it needs a lot more discussion.
Yeah.
Now's not the time, we've got council meetings starting, so.
All right,
I mean, what you can do is, table it to the next, the bids are good for 60 days, if I remember right. We could, we just let the contractor know that it's under discussion.
all right, I make a recommendation that we suspend this project till next budget.
I second.
At the next finance meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's review and approve ordinance adding a provision to chapter 96 of the
We
Wilmington
suspend
Code
that
of
one,
Ordinance
too.
relating to sandwich boards on it.
Frank, can we suspend that one too,
Don't we suspend that
till the
one?
next council meeting? We're running out of time, that's why,
We sure are.
I don't want, we got a lot of people waiting, so.
And the chamber didn't get to take a look at the
Yeah, we haven't got any
model.
response back
Okay,
from the
let's,
chamber.
can we suspend that and send that back to ordinance and license for
Okay.
further review?
I just put back the ordinance and license.
Motion for adjournment,
So moved.
all in favor?
All right. Finance and administration is done, so everybody, yeah, we'll take 5 minutes, then we'll start city council, so.